Hello and welcome to my video. Today I wanted to talk about PICO-8. It's a fantasy console. I think that's what they call it. It's an 8-bit fantasy console slash game development environment. So what Pico is basically this application for your computer where you get this prompt when you open it, and then you can switch between a game development environment and like the command line. And here, let's type help, you can load games, so you can use PICO-8 as an actual console. And one of the, I guess, more famous games that was developed on PICO-8 and you can still run on PICO-8, I believe, is the prototype for the Celeste game. Let's see, let's do explore and let's see if we can find it. So we actually get this like apps, quote-unquote app store for, or game store for PICO-8. All the games are free here, and we can play whatever random game we want to play. There are a lot of those, a lot of games, that people rebuilt, from some of the classics. It is an 8-bit console. That means that there's a limited palette, but you'll see people using it in very interesting ways. Let me see. So these are all the featured ones. Let's do breakdown. I can just press enter and press enter again to run cart. I'm going to turn off the sound on my side. You'll still hear it. And this console only has direction keys A and B, so to speak. That's actually Z and X and an enter key. I haven't actually played many of the games. I have no idea how to play this game actually. Whoops. Let's go back to explore. So I haven't really played any of the games on here. I've not really been interested. What I've been really interested in has been the development environment. So anytime you load in a game from Explorer, you can actually press escape and it'll take you to the development environment. But right now it's filled with the project that creates the game. So everything's open source and everything's readily editable and viewable, and you can do whatever you want with it. You can look at the, the tile sets, how the maps are utilized. You get all of it, including the music. And so let's go ahead and load a different game. I'm gonna load my own game that I've been working on. You can see the screen's not clearing, so it looks weird. But okay, so yeah, I'm working on this new game, and I can run it directly on here. Yeah, it's a little. I'm just started working on it, so the sprite looked kind of odd, but it's supposed to be a little action RPG. I guess 2-bit, or sorry, not 2-bit, 8-bit action RPG. Basically like a cheap little remake of the Diablo 1 game, where you start in the town and you go down into the dungeons and whatever. There's enough space on each of the that you can put into the game. Like there's enough data that you can put into each of one of the games to build a pretty extensive game. What I mean by that is that you can create a lot of different custom tile sets. You can you can build different maps to create different environments. So these are all actually different tiles in a map that I loaded up. And let's go up. This is a different tile set. And going all the way up, we have a third tile set that I put together. And let me show you what that looks like. So here's actually the code. Whatever you put up top is going to be the title of not only this sheet, but I believe the game. So you have a few sheets, quote-unquote sheets. They're not actually files. They're extensions of this one file, so functions from different sheets can call each other. You can add as many as you need. And you write code. This is Lua. I have not written any Lua before, but it is a very straightforward language. So if you've played around with, I don't know, pretty much any language out there, it should seem really familiar. There are a few interesting things, like a local function scopes it only within the function. Everything else is, I guess, assumed to be global. or maybe it's a name collision thing. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't explored it, but I've been using local a lot. You can you're presented with this interesting API where if you create a function that's called _init, it's going to be run on initialization. So you're not calling out to some import. You're not doing, creating a class or main. I guess this is kind of like the main function or whatever. So you get init, you get update that gets called on every update loop. So that should be, I think, 30 frames per second. You can do a 60 frames per second one, and that's just the update 60. It does not work for any other frame sizes. It's just update and update 60 are the reserved function names. So here you can see that I'm listening on different buttons if they're pressed. And what's interesting is that you see this little icon. It's supposed to be a left key, and so if you press everything in PICO-8 is uppercase. So there's no lowercase and uppercase. It's just uppercase. But if you try to uppercase a letter, it'll give you a symbol instead. So if I do a shift left, wait, nope. Why am I not remembering it? Shift A. What was it? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. If you do a shift L, you get left key. Shift R, you get right key. Shift U, you get up key, and shift D, you get down key. And so that way, it's pretty easy to listen in on those because you don't have to remember a key number, which they do present you with. You can use these icons, and I think it makes for nicer code. It's pretty cool. I've set up a basic update loop here that lets you move a character around, and started working on some stuff about collisions. So you get some other functions, some reserved functions or some functions you can call, like mget, that lets you get the tile number from a map based on a coordinate. And that's an interesting thing too with the coordinates. Your screen is split into 128 pixels by 128, and there's no way to scale that or anything. It's just fixed 128, 128. And then I don't want to do the math on this, but you get a 128 divided by 8 tiles per screen, so 8 by 8. I think that's how that math works out. No. It is each tile is 8 pixels. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, yeah. So let's do the math differently. Each tile is 8 by 8 pixels, and if you divide the 128 by 8, you'll get the number of tiles. And we'll look at the tiles in just a second. We also have the draw method. The reason why there's a separate update and draw is because they can run asynchronously. You'll get updates steadily 30 frames per second, or as steadily as possible, and the draw tries to do 30 frames per second, as I understand it, but it'll draw when it's able to, basically. So you while the draw might be behind, the game is not behind. At least that's how I understand it, and that's how it's been kind of explained to me. So I try to reserve updating global variables and doing all kinds of weird logic to the update method, and the draw method basically just gets a hey, I'm doing a direction, and there's some animation stuff that I want to do that goes into the draw function, and then I clear the screen with a really simple function. This is something that blows my mind, is how freaking easy it is to load assets and use assets inside of this game. The main reason is because you create the assets or inside of this console game development environment. The main reason is because everything lives inside of that development environment, and it's interlinked, right? So if we create a really simple asset, I messed with one of them, didn't I? Okay, whatever. I think I fixed it. So we can create a very simple asset here. It's 8 by 8 tile, and we got several sheets. When you click on one of the tiles, it tells you the number, and you can just drop it into the game with SPR, number, and then the position, and it'll be right there at that position. And so that is so neat. So super simple. You create an asset, you have a number you can reference it by, you can drop it right into your game. Yeah. Okay. And creating, new tiles is pretty easy too. You get a few drawing tools. If I wanted to create, by the way, Control Z, Control C, Control V, like these things work as you'd expect, which I didn't expect it to work in PICO-8, but because of all the mouse work, it seems so low tech that you wouldn't expect it to have simple things like copy and paste, but it does. Yeah, so it's pretty simple to create assets. Let's say we want to create maybe something like a brick, right? We can just do, wait, how would you create a brick? You do there. No, this would be this color, or maybe this checker pattern. We'll just create that. And then I can actually select it, and then I can stamp it. Oops, I did not stamp the right thing. You have to copy it first. So I have this nice little checker pattern that I can drop into the game anywhere, right? And so you can also set flags. You don't get to set information on the tiles, but you can set a flag. I set the first flag to mean that you're going down a level. Second flag is going up a level, so this is like staircase and like a ladder. And then the third flag is collision. So I created a really simple way of colliding objects with just tiling. It doesn't work exactly well, but it's a good start. And then you get this map editor. When you press space, you get this neat hint that you can move around. And these four corners denote 128 pixels by 128 pixels. While you can build games in PICO-8 where your character just scrolls. So actually, yeah, you can build games where your character just kind of scrolls with the map. So you can create a map that's just the top over here and scroll your character across it. I'm building like a dungeon, whatever, right? So I will actually want to have the town. You go down a level here, you go down a level, you go to the next one, and so on. And so creating the maps is really easy too. I have a little weird playground here, but you zoom in to wherever you want to be, and you click on the tile on the sprite, and you can, oops, I have the stamp tool. You can just draw with it. Yeah, and you can create, if I want to do a larger square, you can create a larger shape, and then you can press the fill bucket to fill it all in. You can switch between the tiles. Oops, didn't mean to actually do that. Control Z, right? I like these little shadows that I created, these shadow tiles. And, you're building, whatever. You're building the map like right here inside of the editor, and it's pretty fantastic. And since you can set the flags on the tiles, not on individual tiles, but only on the this tile, the tile design, not on the individual tiles on the map. But because you can set the bits, you don't have to worry about like anything extra. Like you built this house and the character can't walk into it, and that is a nice experience as well. And then we're gonna build a wall. It's kind of like a weird wall, but we're gonna create stairs. I am not a tile designer, so my stairs and everything looks weird, but anyway, so and you can build something out, like something really cool, and it's nice. And so how do you switch between maps? Really easy. There's a map function, and you just give it a starting point on this map over here. And we want to start at the top corner, which is 0, 0 coordinate, and you can see the coordinates on the bottom of the screen changing as I move the mouse around, the cursor. And so you can just pick, I want to start here, and I want to show the first map, and then you're going to start here and show the second map, and so on. So it's been pretty easy. Since I'm just kind of scrolling across the maps, there are 16 tiles per window yeah. So I can just multiply a number by 16 and I'll get to the next map. And that's been so awesome. You also have access to functions like print. If you noticed when I was playing the game, I had some numbers up top. So yeah, I know I'm going really in depth into this. I do very much enjoy this this development environment. And actually, one thing I didn't go through is making music, and that's because I'm just not a music master. Let me go ahead and play you this pattern real quick. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, that's horrible. You know, I just have not bothered with the music much. But you get this really cool music editor that has a few different effects, a few different instruments, and, you know, all this different stuff that you can work with, and there are different ways of editing and creating sound, you know, different shapes of sounds, and it's a lot of fun, and you can create quite a lot of music here. Cool. Anyway, oh, I probably just completely screwed up my music. Well, I was just getting started, I guess. Saved it. Before I leave, I do want to mention, and I haven't tried this yet, you can export your game. So you can just write export, and if you do, I think .html, I think if you just leave it. Oh, okay. So I want a HTML web player. So it'll, yeah, I have to do a few things, but it'll create an HTML file with this game embedded in there, and it'll just work. You can export just the sprite sheet, the music. You can do a native player. I've not used that, but I'm guessing that'll. I have not used that. But actually, let's just see what it is. So we need to create a label first, right? So I think that's an F7 key. Yeah, I don't really know what a label image is, but maybe it's like the front of the cartridge. Let's go ahead and export it as .bin. I don't know what happened. Okay. Oh, so it exported for all of those formats. That's pretty cool. And then we'll just do export as HTML. I have no idea where this is, so I really just have no idea where this is, and I wish I could play it. So let me see if I can run. Well, it's still running it. I don't know, but you can play these games on a standalone native player or on the web player, which I think is pretty cool because you can go to the PICO-8 website and you know, just play whatever game you want to play straight there in the browser. Actually, if you read through the forum, I think that's actually the coolest part about it. If you read through the forum, you'll notice that people post the actual games and different like revisions of that same game. So you can, in the thread, as you're trying to reply or read a message, you can actually play those games and look at the code like right there. Yeah, I have to say that I have not had this much fun making games. This little RPG thing that I'm working on, obviously it's very rudimentary, but I also picked this up just a few days ago, like 3 days ago, PICO-8. I've worked on some animation intro screens, and that's been fun. And I think let me see if I have this one here, DVD. That's not right. Run. Hello. That's weird. Did I just overwrite all of them? Oh, I have to load it first, right? Let me see. Yeah. There we go. Oh. Yeah, so this was one of the first things that I built. It bounces off the walls, and every time it bounces, it changes color, and we get the numbers. I had another one, it was DVD. We have to load it first. So just a few, way more characters actually. Yeah, so I have not had this much fun just like playing around with anything. It's really cool because I just want to like pick this up, you know. I constantly want to like pick this up and play with it and work on some idea. Yeah, I've just never felt so empowered to get into game development. I hope you'll enjoy it. You know, it's like $15. Go buy it if you want to try your hand at game development. It's very well worth it.